Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Juju. Welcome to my channel if you're new. So as you guys can see by the title of the video, I wanted to discuss this post that I actually had saw today. And it's really random because like I said, I just saw it and I wanted to talk about it because pretty privilege is something that I wanted to talk about for a long time. And let me just first start off by saying that I'm in no way, shape, or form, judging this girl or, talking about her situation in any way, shape, or form. And I'm going to also, reiterate that in, as I go further into detail about what I want to talk about. But whenever I saw this post and I actually read the comments, it was like very telling to me how gullible people are. And also how consumerism and colorism and all the isms, classism, all the isms that you want to, that you can even think of, how big of an impact it has on us as a society and the way that we view ourselves and deem ourselves as worthy or not worthy of respect, money, resources, and things like that. So again, I want to be very clear that I'm not dissing this young lady. I don't know this lady personally. It's just that I'm using this topic as a bigger, to, bring a point home for a bigger purpose or whatever. So yeah, basically, like as you guys can see, a Houston, Texas woman goes viral on Twitter for sharing that she gets told she's too pretty to be working at Home Depot. And as you guys can see, she is a beautiful woman. And all of those things. And being as though, I know a little bit about pretty privilege, but I've also been on the other side of the spectrum. I wasn't always considered to be conventionally pretty. I got bullied a lot growing up. And that's neither here nor there, but it does help me to see things from both perspectives and both sides, because when my self-identity, when my self-worth was in the garbage, was in the gutter, that's how people treated me. And it wasn't until I actually decided to clean myself up, and I mean energetically, and then it started to show on the outside. And then not only that, because I'm not saying that the times that I got bullied or anything like that it was because I wasn't doing anything. I've always been pretty. Like, I've even had people that are conventionally uglier than me that look worse than me, that, it doesn't necessarily mean that, when you are bullied or when someone calls you ugly, that you are ugly. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And that's my entire purpose of placing this point at this point in this video, right? I'm not trying to make this about me or anything like that. There is a reason for why I'm saying everything that I'm saying. So fast forward, I'm reading the comments to this post, and it's mainly men, and they're just beguiled, and they're saying, oh yeah, you could tell she has a lot of self-respect and she's classy because, she could be a bottle girl or an e-girl or a stripper. She could do this, she could do that, and she's choosing not to. And while that is true, it's only because of the dehumanization of women, of the hypersexualization of women that we put on ourselves and that we've allowed men to place on us, that comments like this are even accepted, respected, or even made, right? And so at the same time, you have other men and other women, just, people in general in the comments praising this girl, saying, yeah, she's classy and she's this and she's that because, she could be doing anything else in the world. And then there's other people that are saying, well, we all don't have pretty privilege, and, a lot of people, they could relate to the post. And I can relate to the post as well. Like, you don't know. Well, if you do know, when you're just, at work or you're walking around and you're minding your business and some random guy just comes up to you, completely crossing all of your boundaries, and they say something like, hey, pick your face up. You should smile. Why are you not smiling? You need to smile more. And it's like, dude, who are you? You don't know what the fuck is going on with me today. I don't know you. What are you doing? Don't do that. Don't be pushing up on me like that. If you know, you know. So there's two sides to every story. A lot of people, they feel like they automatically project onto this girl that, number one, that she's classy and she's a good girl simply because of the fact that she chose to work a regular job. Literally the bare minimum. But because people automatically assume the worst about you being pretty, oh, you have to be doing something else to get your money. Oh, she's not just doing this and that and the third to get their money. Do you see how being pretty is not, it has its privileges, but it doesn't always, right? Because yes, she's going viral, but people are projecting images onto her. People are projecting all types of different ideas and, personality traits and characteristics about her. And it's a fantasy. It's all a fantasy. It's all a facade. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that's bad, because, we all project in some ways, especially on the internet. When you see somebody, you kind of imagine, oh, I wonder what their personality will be like, whatever. You know what I mean? When you connect with people on the internet, it's a network. But at the same time, I noticed how a lot of people automatically put her on a pedestal because she looks a certain type of way. They called her wifey type and things like that. And you never really get to the bottom of who a person is. And like I said, you can't base something off of a picture. So I'm not saying that these people, this is how they would really interact with her in real life if they were to ever meet her or anything like that. But when you are pretty, conventionally pretty, people automatically assume good things about you, but in a sexual way. Like, it's like they only see you as a human when they see that you're not, when they feel like you're not doing something that could potentially, where you're using your beauty to quote unquote get ahead. Because a lot of men and a lot of other women that don't find themselves to be attractive, they are envious of that. They are envious of women who, feel like they are attractive and they use their beauty to get ahead, or they use their beauty to, get that privilege, or they notice their privilege and they know how to work it and not manipulate, but, because there's certain people who just use their privilege to, they're not hurting anybody, but if you want to be nice to me, then be nice to me. I'm nice to you. So let's just respect each other. I just so happen to be pretty, right? But then there's also people who, they know that they're pretty, they manipulate, they lie. We're not talking about those types of people, right? But when it comes to certain men and just certain people in general, they automatically think like, either it's always almost one extreme or the other. They always think that you are using your beauty to get ahead for, selfish purposes, for selfish gain, or they automatically, in this case, they see you doing something that a quote unquote regular person would be doing, and they fantasize and they pedestalize you because it's like, oh, well, she's so beautiful and she's not like the other people. She's not like the other girls. She's not like them. Oh, that's wifey material right there. Oh, yeah, she's classy. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you really don't even know what this person could be doing behind the scenes. You don't know. And like, that's what really had me thinking. I'm like, okay, I understand that. And that's not to take away from the fact that, she is a beautiful woman and all of those things. But to automatically assume that just because she works at Home Depot and you don't, and that's the only thing that you got from the post. That's the only thing that you know from this post. That's the only information that you've gathered. You don't know if she has a side job. You don't know what else she has planned in her future, or what she would do or what she wouldn't do, right? But people just automatically assume, oh yeah, she's working at Home Depot and she has self-respect for herself, but they automatically believe that, they just drag it, right? And I just thought that was really, really interesting, because I it can get tiring. It can get very tiring. And like the fact that she even had to make a post about this, because a lot of people do this to you when they find you to be conventionally attractive, because people project onto you when they don't, especially if they don't feel like it's something that they would do, or if their self-esteem is not as high as yours, or they don't feel as conventionally pretty as you, or they're not as conventionally pretty as you, or if they in their minds, they feel like, well, if I was in your position, I would be doing X, Y, and Z. So they automatically give you those kudos for not doing it, because they're like, well, damn, like you're really strong, or damn, like you must be really smart. You must really have self-respect for yourself. And it's all out of a fantasy that people have. And this is what I mean by it makes it really hard for people to get to know the like past the superficialness of who you are. Like, and I'm not saying that her friends and family, they don't, hold her in high regard, or they don't, truthfully know her and things like that. And they don't, that she doesn't have a good support system or anything like that, because a lot of people, that's not the case, right? But yeah, and just like in my experience, people have always projected these different ideals onto me, and it's just like, that makes absolutely no sense. Like women automatically not liking you right off the bat because they hear, so-and-so's coming, and then they go check your Instagram account, and they automatically have all these preconceived notions about you, and then they start talking to the people that are going to bring you around. Oh, she better not be stuck up. She better not be this. She better not be that. And it's just like, did you even get a chance to get to know me before you automatically assumed that I was going to be stuck up? No. But because you see the way that I look, you automatically think all of these things, all of these little dings are going off in your head, and now you got an attitude for what? So, and that's literally have happened to me before. It's a really good topic to talk about, because people who have experienced pretty privilege, and let me be very clear, let me just be honest, because it's not something that's really discussed. Pretty privilege it's in the eye of the beholder. Like, if you believe that somewhere in your life you receive pretty privilege, that is your prerogative, right? Because somebody might think that you are attractive, right? What does it mean to actually be attractive? Now, when a large consensus of people all come together to agree that you are attractive, yes, that's a very good thing, because it's like, yeah, I got the people, I got the receipts to back it up, right? But a lot of the times, popularity can get misconstrued with being pretty. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what really is pretty? So it's like, come on, y'all, come on. And it's because of mindsets like that. Oh, yeah, she works at Home Depot. She's definitely wifey material. And people were saying like, oh, it's women like her that, high value men, they actually would want to, they would actually see women like her and want to put her in a better position to win, and this, that, and the third. Because a lot of women were like, oh, yeah, you guys love it that she's not capitalizing off of her beauty. Like, you guys, you guys like that. But at the same time, you like the women that do capitalize off of their beauty. So it's like, people really don't know what they want. People don't know. It's just confusion. It's just confusion. And then on top of that, you don't know this lady from a can of paint. So to assume that just because she's working at Home Depot and you see her in this picture with her Home Depot apron on, that she's not doing anything else and she's automatically classy, classy, sexy, cool, wifey material, you're slow. You're slow. That's not all that it takes. And I feel like, and then also when you think about those types of mindsets, and when you see men who are claiming to be high value, or who are just, everyday men, just men in general, claiming, oh yeah, this is wifey material, I will wife that, but they're really basing it off of, because they have this fantasy, they've already projected this fantasy onto you or her or whoever, because they find them to be attractive. Then on the other side of that, women get jealous. Not even recognizing these men are not, like, their opinion doesn't matter. Not to say that men's opinion don't matter, but as a woman speaking to another woman, I'm just not going to allow my self-esteem to go down into that far down into the gutter that I feel a certain type of way about another woman because men find her to be attractive, right? So, but you see that often. You see it often where men with their limited mindsets, with their superficial mindsets, not all of them, but certain men who only think so far ahead, they say things and they pedestalize certain women, so then other women find them to be competition, right? And so then it's just like this secret competition, and all of a sudden all these women don't like this one woman because, and mind you, she still hasn't even gotten a word in yet, right? She still hasn't even came into the equation yet. But because these women see these men looking at this one woman, and then you got to think about it this way. These are women that also may work at Home Depot. These are women that also may be in the field working. But they're not, they didn't get a viral post. They didn't get, oh yeah, she's wifey material. They may have went through certain situations where they actually are wifey material. They actually do have, people's best interest at heart, and they are good mothers, and they are nurturing, and they are caring, and they are soft, and they are ready to be taken care of, and to have a leader and a provider, want to sweep them off their feet, right? So that's the downsides of pretty privilege, right? And like I said, pretty is subjective. So it all stems with your own belief in yourself, your own self-worth, how you feel about yourself. Then you can actually really dive in deep and determine, well, have I ever actually received pretty privilege? You can actually determine, is pretty privilege actually a thing in my world? Because just because society says something is a thing doesn't necessarily mean that it is a thing. You get to decide. You create your reality. Don't play into what society says. A lot of the times I like to know about what society thinks and how we think, but I'm not engaging in that shit. I don't care. Like, I don't care about what society thinks. Honestly, society can kiss my ass. And I feel like, truthfully, that this is how this girl thinks. Like, it really does get tiring when and that's whether you believe that you receive pretty privilege or not. It gets tiring being a woman and being constantly judged and projected onto because of the way that you look. That gets tiring for anybody. I'm sure men, whatever, I don't know what they call it when you're attractive or handsome and you get privilege, but it's like, and the most ugliest man can go into the gas station and an old lady will probably hype them up, or anybody, you know what I'm saying? Because what is handsome, what is pretty, to me, honestly, there's somebody for everybody. And if you find somebody to be attractive, that's what you find to be attractive. So anybody and everybody could say that, oh yeah, I've experienced pretty privilege because I've gotten away with X, Y, and Z. But pretty privilege, there is definitely levels to it because, when it comes to, like, just for an example, if you want to be an influencer, getting brand deals and things like that, it's going to help your case to be a lot more if you look palatable, if you look brandable, if you look marketable. But that's all about presentation. It doesn't necessarily have to do with if your face is symmetric and things like that. No. Whatever you feel about yourself on the inside is going to show without on the outside. So you can experience pretty privilege if you believe that that's something that you can experience. But if you think that you're ugly, well, so does everybody else, darling. So does everybody else, because a person could be super nice to you, super generous to you, super kind to you. A person could say these same words to you. Why are you working here? And because your self-esteem is so in the trash because you deem yourself to be ugly, you don't think that you're good enough. You don't think that your hair is the right texture. You don't think that you're the right color. It goes in one ear and out the other. And to you have never experienced pretty privilege because that's a blockage for you. You can't even see an opportunity when it arrives. because you don't think that you're good enough. But on some real stuff, just to end this out, I do, like I said, this woman is very beautiful, and I do believe that she has self-respect for herself because that's just the minimum. Not simply because she works at Home Depot when she could be shaking her ass. Like, that's a given. That's a given. There's plenty of women out here who could be There's plenty of women out here who could be doing so many other things than what they have been doing to get by, to survive, right? And if we leave it up to men to decide, like, no, because they don't really think that far ahead when they're not really high value. And I'm being honest here, because for you to believe that just simply because somebody works at Home Depot that they're classy and they're wifey material, that's a stretch. But I could see why, and I'm not coming at this girl in particular, but I could see why, people say those things, because they're projecting a fantasy onto what they see. Men are visual creatures, so they want to feel a certain type of way. And somebody even said in the comments, if you're attractive, you could be 85%. What did they say? They said you could be 85% attractive and 20% like wifey material or something like that. And men will project that 85% onto you that you're a wife, because they need, like, it's a trophy thing. It's a thing to where, this is my possession. It doesn't really have anything to do with who you are, and that's why a lot of men miss the mark. That's where a lot of men miss the mark in their relationships and in choosing people that actually genuinely care for them, because they will project an image onto you. They will project a fantasy onto you. And sometimes it can go either way. Sometimes they'll project an image onto somebody that doesn't deserve it. And sometimes they'll project negative images onto people that do deserve, care, love, reciprocity, and all of those things. Right? So pretty privilege can go either way. When a person sees you in a certain light, it can go either way depending on their traumas and the way that they see things and the way that they perceive the world and what they really want to do. Because a lot of people, when they already have a plan in place, you just come to serve for whatever that plan is, right? So they're just going to project whatever image they need to project onto you. I'm ready for a wife. This girl is beautiful. She works at Home Depot. She's ready. She's classy. She is ready to be a wife. I'm ready to make her a mother. I'm going to do all of these things. And then they do all of these things, and then they find out, wow, like, I really played myself, right? Because they projected an image onto this person. Or, and a lot of the times with pretty privilege, people project the image onto you and they expect so much of you. And when you're not able to, when you don't meet those super high standards and expectations, then it kind of, like, it sucks for you and it sucks for them, right? So don't think that just because a person is pretty that they're a superhero. Don't think that just because a person is attractive in general that they're a superhero. Stop projecting expectations onto people because of the way that they look. Stop projecting stuff onto people because of the way that things look. Me, for example, don't be projecting onto me that I'm a teacher, that I'm anything. No, I'm just on YouTube. I just get messages and I talk about different things that I want to talk about. I just simply give my opinions and talk. That's what I do. And I vlog and I just do me. Right? So, and I know that I'm getting more and more exposure, and I don't want to fall into this, trap of, I got to meet certain expectations of complete strangers. No, if you find me to be helpful, if you find the stuff that I say to be helpful, if you find the stuff that I do to be helpful, if you find the content that I give out to be helpful, my job here is done. Other than that, we ain't got to talk about nothing. You ain't got to say nothing to me. I ain't got to say nothing to you. We ain't even got to know each other exists. Period. Period. That's it. And like for this girl, I'm sure she just wants to go to work and go home. And I'm sure she has goals and aspirations, and she just wants to be able to hit those goals and aspirations without people projecting an image onto her that you could be doing this. Why you ain't doing this? Oh my gosh, you're like the best human being because you're doing the bare minimum for yourself. And it just gets overwhelming. Even though, you know, for a narcissist, somebody would want to hear those things, but it just gets overwhelming to just have things blown up for the bare minimum, or to have people have expectations for you and on you that, you know, you never even agreed with, or there was never a conversation for that, right? So, yeah, y'all, that's all I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you guys think down below. Have you ever experienced pretty privilege? Do you think that this is an example of pretty privilege? Because I kind of did just say that it was, but what do you guys think? Let me know. Don't forget to like this video so that more people can find my channel. Thank you guys for all the likes and subscribes, and I'll see you and talk to you in the next video. Bye.